Hello guys, today we're going to do a video on Red Dead Redemption 2 using the GTX 750 Ti. I'm going to go and revisit Red Dead 2 with the FSR 2.0 update, since this card is quite old now and it was a mid-range card at the time in 2014, so it's not going to be running a 2018 game super well. But I thought maybe with the FSR 2.0 update we'll actually have a chance to run this game at a playable frame rate with decent visuals. Alright, jumping into the settings, we can see that we are playing the game at 1080p on low to medium settings. But one more thing to keep in mind is that the VRAM issue won't let you to change the settings in-game, so you want to go through either the game's config file or through Geforce Experience. Now I did take the time to actually overclock the GPU as well. I applied a 200 MHz overclock on the actual GPU core and a 300 MHz overclock on the memory, which will give us around a 2 to 3 FPS boost on top of what we had at 1080p low to medium settings. So we went from 25 to 27 FPS to 30 to 35 FPS, but we do get some dips into the high 20s still. And in a second you'll see why the game gives us a VRAM warning and actually doesn't let us play at 1080p with this card. You will see a lot of buildings popping in, objects popping in the distance, and in general things just look very blurry. But already the game is playable, I guess. You will definitely have some dips into the high to mid 20s, but hopefully with FSR we can actually balance this out and get a consistent 30. Okay, now to actually apply the settings, you have to go through your documents folder, Rockstar Games, Red Dead 2, settings, and then there'll be a system file in there which you'll open up in your notepad, search for FSR, and you'll see FSR 2 index space value will be at 0 by default since it's turned off. 1 means quality FSR, 2 is balanced, and 3 is performance. And this will work with any other setting in the game as well. Okay, so actually playing with FSR, you will use a little bit more extra VRAM than what you're using without it, and that caused the game to just crash. So 1080p with these settings, even on the lowest settings, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the VRAM too much. You lose around 200 megabytes. And lowering the resolution down as well to 720p on the lowest settings, you're still going to be over the 2 GB VRAM limit. So if you got the 4 GB variant of this card, then obviously you can do it, but I think most people have the 2 GB variant and you definitely can't play normally anyway. So we're down to 900p and running the game natively, no FSR yet, and same settings as before at 1080p. So far the game is looking okay, I guess. If you have a small screen this will look way better, but I'm using a 27-inch screen I believe, and you definitely see the quality loss. It looks very blurry in the distance. The trees look very blurry, but it is definitely playable. Without using any tuning or any like FSR techniques, you will still be able to play this game at 900p with low to medium settings. And obviously you can go ahead and optimize the settings even further. I just did it quickly. I saw beforehand though this game ran fine on this card, but recently this VRAM limit issue has been popping up, so I don't know when they changed that. It's running into a bit of trouble, right, for sure. Yeah, as you can see, we're still getting pop-in coming in. We are able to hold 30 FPS. Oh, we just fell. 29 FPS, we're getting a VRAM limit warning. Alright, now let's go and try out FSR real quick. I'm going to skip quality since normally it gives us around a 1 to 2 FPS boost, which is not very good at all. And balance normally gives us around a 5 FPS increase. And the visuals still look good, so wow, this game actually looks way better with FSR than it does natively. This looks so nice. Whoa, this is actually a major difference. Ignoring the FPS, this looks way better already. We'll still get the pop-in, as you can see when I pan the camera. Eventually something will pop in. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual FPS. We're getting 30 to 33 FPS, so around a 3 FPS boost at best. We're still falling into the high 20s though, so honestly I would just ignore the FPS factor. The clarity itself is worth using FSR Balance. The game looks way better compared to native. The game was blurry, super blurry at native, and I don't know if you can tell in video, but it looks way better. Okay, playing with the performance DLSS now. Let's go ahead and show the settings off real quick. But at a first glance, I didn't really see too much of a difference. Performance mode. Let's close it out. I will try 720p as well. Maybe we can see a better improvement. Actually, I do see a bit of a downgrade in quality playing with performance. We can see the horses and the actual buildings are shimmering a little bit in the distance, but other than that, it's looking about the same. Well, let's look at the FPS. We're getting 30 to 29 FPS here. Same as native pretty much. It's looking way better in terms of FPS. We're in the 40s now, but we're sitting at 35 here. So let's go and write it back. 36, 37, 38. So you definitely see a giant increase in your FPS using the performance mode, but the quality is definitely a little bit worse compared to balanced. Alright, now playing the game at 720p, no FSR, we are able to get 40 FPS here, almost 50 actually, but the trees look pretty awful, shimmering quite a bit, and the clarity is just not there at all. Looks very hard to actually see anything. Alright, now playing the game at 720 with balanced FSR, there's a giant difference in quality again. Game looks way more clear compared to native. It's actually surprising how good this looks. And FPS isn't going to be improved too much with balanced. You want to use performance for that, but at that point you're losing too much quality anyway. It might be worth it if you want to get 50 FPS. So we actually had some good results with this. I think this game is definitely playable. You just got to go to the config files and change the settings that way, because the game doesn't let you normally. It will just block you out. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. If you made this far, I appreciate you. As always, if you find this video useful, if you like what you see, you can give it a video a like. Flip the channel as well. See you next time.